First of all, I want to talk about trust, though. Some people think, well, trust is, I will trust you if I know I can predict you. If the thing you're going to do is always predictable, and it's fair, and it's just, then I can trust you. Yes, and that's true. And that's a form of trust. And but I would submit that's an actually fairly inferior form of trust. A better form of trust is a little different. It's, I don't necessarily know what you're going to do. I don't necessarily know where you're going to take me. But I believe in you. You inspire me. You build in me hope. So I would actually say a higher form of trust, and the type of trust that we as leaders want to aspire to is trust that's hopeful. Builds hope in others. And so I want to talk for a minute about a guy by the name of Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain had such an impact on me. It's an amazing impact. I named my 8th child Joshua Lawrence Whitehead. And so little Joshua he reminds me of Joshua. But Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain was a professor at Bowdoin College. He is a professor of rhetoric, religion, philosophy, very accomplished. Bowdoin is a small liberal arts school, probably a lot like Linfield is back in Maine. And when the Civil War broke out, Chamberlain volunteered, and he was appointed as a colonel in the 20th Maine Regiment. So one thing you have to understand, and I think we do all understand, but I wanted this picture up here just to show you the brutality of warfare in general, but the special brutality of this Napoleonic type of 19th century and 18th century warfare. Just absolutely brutal. So Chamberlain had a situation on May 20th, 1863, he was promoted to be the full commander of the regiment. Up until that point, he was just lieutenant colonel, and he was the executive officer of that regiment. So he got promoted to the full commander of the regiment, and within 2 days of that promotion, actually 3 days of that promotion, 120 men or so were brought to him under gunpoint, under guard, and the message given to him was, here, these are people from the 2nd Maine Regiment. They say they don't want to fight anymore. Since you're from Maine, we're putting them with your regiment. And back in those days, that's how people went to war. They went as whole towns, just went to war. So we're putting them with you because they're from Maine. And the orders from the general are, hey, if they don't fight, shoot them. And that's, that's the harsh reality of that era. And so Chamberlain says, wow, I don't know if I want to, I don't want to have to do that. So he sits down to talk to these guys. What is it? What's going on? What he finds out is that this group of volunteers, their enlistments were incorrectly done. Instead of being on a 2-year enlistment, they're actually technically on a 3, but the rest of their group was on a 2, and they were supposed to be on a 2, and they were supposed to leave with the rest of their group, which left a few months earlier. And so they were pretty angry about that. They felt like they were cheated. And having done some recruiting myself, I swear they probably just misunderstood. So I know how those things can happen, I guess. But anyway, but the point is, they were devastated. And the war was a vicious war. And so Chamberlain actually sat down with them. The interesting story here is that the kind of trust that they actually had for Chamberlain in the end, because of his leadership capability, was that they then, 2 months later, fought in force with him at a battle called Little Round Top in Gettysburg. And Gettysburg just happened to be one of the most threatening situations the South had on the North, I think in the entire war. And one of the things about Little Round Top is that it was the far left edge of Gettysburg. And I don't know how many have ever been to Gettysburg, but if you have, it's a phenomenal place you want to go. You want to read a couple of books before you go there. But at the far left edge of the northern line was these little hills here, and one was called Little Round Top. And his group was assigned to defend that, and given strict orders, hey, under no condition let this side go. So the South just decided also that was going to be one of the main focuses of attack. So they attacked up that left side, and in the end, I'll make the story a little bit brief here. In the end, the fighting was so vicious, they didn't have any bullets left. Chamberlain's side didn't. and their line was about ready to get rolled, and that would have been very devastating to the North. May have been an impact on the war. There's debate on that. But the point is, Chamberlain then, his group launched a bayonet charge. Without bullets, launched a bayonet charge into the oncoming bullets, and ended up taking over 300 prisoners and securing that whole section for the North. So it was an amazing battle. Those people from the 2nd Maine were critical to that battle, and that's why I told the story. One of them received Medal of Honor as a result of that, from the 2nd Maine. Their trust, and I don't know the actual outcome, whether they got released or not. I don't think they did, but their trust in Chamberlain was impressive, and I think that's the kind of trust that I desire to build. And I don't live necessarily in a society where I have to grab a group of people and take a hill, but I do live in a society where I have to do hard things, and it isn't always easy to do them. And so I want people to have a high level of trust.